She was only a short walk from home. Then she disappeared without a trace. This is a story that has haunted Ireland for decades, a mystery woven into the fabric of a small, quiet town. It begins with a young woman full of life and promise, whose ordinary day turned into an enduring enigma. Her name was Deirdre Jacob. She was 18 years old, a student teacher with a bright future ahead of her. On a summer afternoon in 1998, she was walking a familiar path, a journey she had made countless times before. But on this day, she never reached her front door, leaving behind a silence that has stretched across more than a quarter of a century. This case is not a work of fiction. It is a real story about a real family whose lives were irrevocably altered. For nearly 3 decades, investigators have searched for answers, following leads that have often led to dead ends. The public has watched, hoped, and waited alongside Deirdre's loved ones. Now, a new police search has brought fresh hope that this mystery could finally be solved. What really happened to Deirdre Jacob? To understand the question that has captivated a nation, we must first go back to the beginning and get to know the person at the heart of it all. Deirdre was born on October 14, 1979, and grew up in Newbridge, County Kildare. She was the only daughter of Michael and Bernadette Jacob, a cherished part of a close-knit family. Friends and family remember her as a kind, gentle, and responsible young woman. She was studious and ambitious, pursuing her dream of becoming a primary school teacher. She had just completed her first year of studies at St Mary's University in Twickenham, London. For the summer, she had returned home to the familiar comfort of her family and community, taking a break before her second year of college began. She spent time with her friends, worked towards her career goals, and enjoyed being back in her hometown. The summer of 1998 was meant to be a period of relaxation and reconnection. No one could have predicted that this happy interlude would be cut short so abruptly and inexplicably. The story of her disappearance is not just about an unsolved case. It is about the sudden and total absence of a daughter, a friend, and a promising young student whose journey home one afternoon remains a haunting, unfinished chapter. The date was Tuesday, July 28, 1998. It was a bright, unremarkable summer day in the Irish Midlands. In Newbridge, life went on as usual. Deirdre Jacob spent the morning running errands, a simple and mundane routine that gives no hint of the tragedy to come. She walked into town to visit her grandmother and then went to the AIB bank to get a bank draft for her student accommodation in London. Afterwards, she posted the letter at the local post office. These were the simple, documented tasks of a young woman preparing for her future, each step a testament to a life moving forward with purpose and direction. Each known movement has been mapped and timed, creating a timeline that ends with a stark and sudden finality. The last confirmed sighting of Deirdre Jacob was at approximately 3 o'clock in the afternoon on the Barrettstown Road, just outside Newbridge. She was on the final leg of her walk home, a short distance from the safety of her family's house. She was seen, she was there, and then, in the blink of an eye, she was gone. No one has ever reported seeing her again. The space between that last sighting and her front gate is a void that investigators have been trying to fill ever since. In the years that followed, this case became one of Ireland's most enduring mysteries. The initial search grew into a massive investigation, but despite thousands of hours of police work and countless public appeals, no trace of Deirdre was ever found. Her disappearance raised uncomfortable questions about safety in small communities and the terrifying reality that someone can simply vanish in broad daylight, on a busy road just moments from their own home. How could this happen? It is a question that has echoed through the decades. When Deirdre Jacob did not return home on that Tuesday evening, the initial concern of her family quickly escalated into full-blown alarm. It was completely out of character for her not to let them know her whereabouts. As night fell on July 28, 1998, with no word from Deirdre, they reported her missing to the Gardaí in Newbridge. The local police immediately understood the gravity of the situation. The Gardaí's response was swift and comprehensive. The area around Deirdre's home on Barrettstown Road became the immediate focus of a major search operation. Uniformed officers, detectives and specialist units began by meticulously combing the fields, ditches and hedgerows along the route Deirdre had walked. Every inch of the ground between her last sighting and her front gate was scrutinized for a sign of a struggle, a dropped item, any clue, no matter how small, that could point to what had happened to her. Simultaneously, an incident room was established at the Newbridge Garda station. This became the nerve center of the investigation. Witness statements were compiled and potential leads were analyzed. They reconstructed her movements, creating the detailed timeline of her errands in town. Despite the intensity of these initial efforts, the search yielded no concrete results. The investigation was met with a frustrating wall of silence. As days turned into weeks with no sign of Deirdre, the case captured the attention of the entire country. Deirdre's smiling face, looking out from newspapers, television screens, and missing person posters plastered in shop windows across Ireland. The mass mobilization of public support led to one of the largest search operations ever seen in the state. Hundreds of volunteers joined professional search teams, the Garda Sub-Aqua Unit, and the Army. A key focus of the investigation became the distinctive Black Cat-branded bag Deirdre was carrying. The bag, with its prominent yellow lettering, was unique and easily identifiable. Despite extensive appeals and searches, the bag was never recovered. There was no crime scene, no body, and no suspect. The trail was growing colder with each passing day. For nearly 2 decades, the case remained in limbo, officially active but publicly quiet. It was a cold case in the practical sense, one of Ireland's most prominent and painful unsolved mysteries. The passage of time brought new challenges. Memories faded, the physical landscape changed. Despite these obstacles, Deirdre's family and the Gardaí never gave up hope. They continued to issue anniversary appeals. They emphasized that even a small, seemingly insignificant detail could be the missing piece. But as technology advanced and new forensic possibilities emerged, the groundwork was being laid for a future re-examination that would eventually breathe new life into the case. The most significant development came in August 2018. The Gardaí announced a major reclassification of the investigation. The inquiry was officially upgraded from a missing person investigation to a murder investigation. This reclassification was not just a change in terminology, it fundamentally altered the legal and procedural landscape of the investigation. It gave Gardaí new powers and opened up different avenues of inquiry that are specific to homicide cases. It allowed them to pursue leads with a new level of intensity. For Deirdre's family, it was a painful but necessary step, confirming their worst fears but also offering a renewed sense of hope that an eventual resolution was still possible. In October 2021, Gardaí sealed off a large area of woodland in County Kildare, roughly 15 kilometers from where Deirdre was last seen. Officers cleared dense undergrowth. They excavated sections of the remote woodland, and they meticulously sifted through soil for any buried evidence. After an exhaustive search, Gardaí announced nothing of significance had been found. But the operation was crucial. It allowed investigators to rule out that area. It proved the case was far from dormant even after more than 2 decades. Beyond new searches, one of the most powerful reasons the Deirdre Jacob case remains active is the relentless advance of forensic science. The tools available to investigators today are light years ahead of what existed in 1998. A tiny, degraded sample can now potentially yield a full DNA profile. The Gardaí have a dedicated cold case unit which specializes in applying modern forensic techniques to historical unsolved crimes. The potential for a, lab miracle means that the case is never truly cold. It is merely waiting for the right scientific key to turn the lock. We know that On a summer afternoon in 1998, an 18-year-old student teacher walked a familiar road towards her home and vanished. The timeline of her errands is clear. The visit to her grandmother, the bank draft for her college accommodation, the stop at the post office. Beyond these facts lies a void that has deepened over more than a quarter of a century. The core unanswered questions remain as stark today as they were in 1998. What happened in those final few hundred yards? Who was responsible for her sudden and complete disappearance? And where is she now? For her family, the years have been marked by a quiet, unwavering strength and a relentless hope for answers. Their dignity in the face of unimaginable pain has been a constant presence in the public consciousness. They, along with the Gardaí, continue to believe that someone holds the piece of information that could finally bring this long search to a close. The passage of time can change loyalties and ease fears, and a small detail could be all it takes. Nearly 3 decades have passed, but the search for Deirdre Jacob is not over. Could the next tip or the next scientific advance finally provide the breakthrough? The case remains active, a testament to the dedication of law enforcement and the enduring love of a family that has never stopped searching. The hope for justice and, above all, the hope of bringing Deirdre home persists. If you have any information, no matter how small it may seem, please contact the Garda confidential line.